That's it, thanks. So this was a photograph I had seen on the internet, which also mesmerized me, kind of equivalent to the one that I showed you of the Orthodox Jewish man. So this woman was a multiple amputee, and the photograph, the clothing, everything was very kind of tactile and visually just amazing to me. The blanket like wrapped around her has all this design in it, kind of like a serape. The blouse that she has on the front of her upper body has like diagonals, verticals and horizontals. There's a rope hooked up to a container of some sort. We see like right below where her waist would be. And then even her scarf is interesting to me because it's also patterned. And it wasn't until actually I had this underway for several months that I couldn't remember where I had seen the photograph, and then I found out, I did find out she was Jewish, and she was seated outdoors awaiting transport to a Nazi death camp at Chelmno in Poland. So I think of her as having two strikes against her in terms of Nazi race hate and theft and everything. She was Jewish, which made her marked for death, and she was a multiple amputee. Before the Nazis began the final solution to the Jewish problem, as they call it, they had murdered a 250,000 Protestant and Catholic mentally and physically disabled people in Austria and Germany. And I like to say that had people who knew about this spoken out and prevented that, which didn't happen, it's entirely possible the Holocaust would not have happened. And the Holocaust did not have to happen. Next image, please. So there I began working on the drawing with her head. I always do the head first because I figure if I mess up the head, then there's no point to continue with I'd have to start over. So I did the head in ink. And next image, please. And then I began working it down over a couple of months, doing all of that we saw in the photograph with the whatever, like this blanket, like and the blouse and so on. Next image, please. There you see where I had built the frame, the drawing on a makeshift easel to its right, and then I had to pull out all these buckets and buckets where I have all these different, again, handmade tiles and laying everything out to see what I had to begin organizing the mosaic. The container on the left there that has like this, looks like an overgrown pliers. I bought at a hardware store. It's used like for cutting tile. So that I could make at least close to the shapes I may need at a certain point. Next image, please. This one only has a couple of sections of visual imagery in the mosaic. One of them at lower left. Look at the drawing of the photograph in the upper left. I had made a photocopy of a drawing I had done of a parakeet in flight some years ago, and then I copied my own drawing. There you see the outline of the parakeet. The photo on the lower left you see as I'm working on it, and then the photograph at right where it's, I think nearing completion, but before it was grouted. Next image, please. There you can see the parakeet as it fits in the whole section of the frame there. The photograph on the right you see, it looks like it's covered with grout, but I hadn't cleaned all the grout off. To clean the grout off is also very labor intensive. I use all these dental tools that a dentist had given me when I was in graduate school. Next image, please, which worked out really well. I had used them for etching years ago, but I don't etch anymore. The photograph on the left, you see there's this heavy metal link chain with a big hook on the end of it. In 1987, I spent 5 months in Aberdeen, Scotland as international artist in residence there, and a neighbor of mine had given me this thing which was in a farmhouse out where he and his wife lived in the countryside. He said, Ken or Akiva, whatever, how many people do you know have something in their homes that's like 200 to 300 years old? And he gave it to me as a gift, and it's been like hanging up in my current studio apartment. I looked at it and said, this will work thematically in terms of the imagery on this Holocaust mosaic drawing. So there you see it, the drawing I did again with marking pen and then in the photo in the upper right, you can see how I began doing the mosaic of it. And then the lower right, more so, until it was all done. Next image, please. And let's see, so the photograph on the left, the chain and the areas around it are about 4/5 complete. And then on the photograph on the right, you can see it was all completed, also pre-grouting. Next image, please. We're almost at the end, by the way. There's the finished work. And next image, please. There's the Mira Steiner piece at the Hillel exhibit at the University of Washington May last year. Different friends of mine there. Okay, next image, please. I think we have 3 more frames here. My most recently completed drawing, Under the Wings of God drawing, was begun in 1993 with the center section I had drawn from a photocopy page of a Warsaw Ghetto Judenrat issued of the Jewish Labor Council administered by run by the Nazis, of a labor card. The prisoner's name was Frederick Zillman. And they had photocopied these 4 pages of this ID card, and I drew 2 of the pages on 2 separate panels in 1993, and they were still sitting in a flat file. And just a couple of months ago, I decided it was time to finish these, and I had to do all the areas around them. Next image, please. So these are the photographs I had done of the drawings I had done in 1993. The drawing panels are much bigger, and the photos I had only photographed the drawn sections. So I had all this big white expanse around both of them. And the panel at left is the one I just finished recently. Next image, please. And I call it Claustrophobia in the Warsaw Ghetto, Frederick Zillman's Identity, like labor card. Next image, please. And that's how it looks finished. And I did all these different people, mainly, as a lamppost and some structures, but it's mainly people from different Warsaw Ghetto photos. Now the second panel I'm only working on now, and I'm not going to have any people in it at all. Instead, as a contrast, I'm going to have all these different things, trolleys, whatever else, all peopleless, also to evoke. You had all these people, and then they all vanished. Next image, please. So those of you who have seen, so my first presentation 2 years ago, I have a companion educational art series called Sightseeing with Dignity that I began in 2003. There's, I think, 19 works done in that series now. And the last drawing I did in that depicts Chico Mendes, who was an Amazonian rainforest advocate and defender of Indian peoples in the Amazon who are being displaced and so on. Next image, please. And that's fine. Thanks. And then that's the